Hi, friends, and welcome to Costuming in Color. We are a YouTube show dedicated to showcasing amazing costumers of color and those that support them. I'm Gigi, history buff, historical costumer, and dabbleist.
I'm Noelle, a costumer who likes to play both sides of the historical and cosplay world. Today, we are interviewing Serena of Serena. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys.
Hey. But first, some house rules. The first rule of costuming in color is that you tell everyone about costuming in color.
Yes. This way, even if you don't have people of color in your local groups, you can get to know some in our global community.
The second rule is that kindness matters. Aside from that, there are no rules. So let's get into it. The first question I have for you, Serena, is going to throw you off because we never asked this question. So just brace yourself. Where are you from? And do you still live there?
I'm originally from New York and I do not live there.
What is your favorite thing about where you live now?
I just moved recently, so I've not really gotten to explore, but I do love my home. I moved into a 1958 mid-century house, so it definitely goes with my aesthetic, so I really like it.
I am into your wallpaper.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Did you put that up or was that there?
Yeah, I put it up. So we weren't intending on moving when we moved, but my husband got a really good job. So the wallpaper that we have here, we had just put up 3 weeks before we knew we were going to have to sell our house. So I was devastated. And he was just like, I promise you, if you move, you get to put all your wallpaper back. So this is actually wallpaper that I bought maybe 3 weeks before we had to sell our house.
Well, at least you got to keep your wallpaper.
Yeah.
Have that joy. It's really hard when you find a good wallpaper. I keep thinking about wallpapering this room and thinking oh, what would look good as a background constantly. That one is really
I think you should. I wallpapered my sewing room and I actually got a digital artist to make something custom for me. So it looks very groovy, 60s, 70s ish, but it has mini line drawings of all my sewing machine collection. So
that's
embed
so cool.
Different sewing machines that I've collected.
That's so cool. I live where there's textured walls everywhere. So I think
we have textured walls too.
You can wallpaper those?
I actually avoided those walls. Okay. I just mainly wallpapered the parts of my house that's been remodeled. So the wall that has wallpaper on it right now didn't used to be there, so it's smooth. And the wallpaper in the basement where I sew, that was poured concrete, so that's smooth enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too ripply. You can put some wallpaper on it.
I think I would have to smooth out a wall, but it might be worth it.
Yeah, I think it's worth it.
What is your Instagram handle and why did you choose it?
It is @Serena_. And I chose it because it goes really well with my name. My name is Serena and I love to sew. So I just kind of blended the two together. And then I had to add an underscore because someone already had that name.
I love it. I think it's the cutest little combining name ever.
Yeah, I figured it'd be easy to remember. And if someone knew my Instagram handle, then they wouldn't forget my name.
Right.
So people wouldn't have to remember two different things.
Yes, that is much better than choosing a name that makes everyone think you're a drama channel.
I thought you
were. Learn from her mistakes.
Yeah, don't do that, kids. No. What is the costuming scene like where you live?
I don't know yet. I hope to find out. I think just now moving and then also us being in the middle of a pandemic makes it a little difficult to things like that out. But I guess since I pretty much am digital anyway, it's okay for me at the moment. But I'd like to figure it out. I'd like to see if there's more people like me, or I don't know. I like creative people. So hopefully I can get a little group.
That's awesome. You already have a little group. We've had people on this show that have been she is the best.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what I'd do without the internet. I'm also new to Instagram in general. Before making this account, I didn't have one. So it's so fun to just meet people and have a little community.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Cosplay, historical, or both? Just one word.
Historical.
Do you want to use more words?
Are you into cosplay as well? No, we're going to ask that. We're going to ask that later.
I guess I don't consume the media that I feel goes with the cosplay.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, because I don't watch anime or anything like that. Actually, my little daughter does. So that's kind of weird how she's naturally gravitated to stuff like that. Like she likes Miraculous Ladybug and things like that. So I guess eventually I will, but as of right now, not really.
You don't have to cosplay just anime. Like you can cosplay like your mom. Like, yeah, that's a thing too.
Oh, I thought it had to be linked to a character.
No, I mean, it's better. I mean, your mom is a character, you know, like.
Yeah. I thought it had to be like a fictional character or something like that. So, well, I guess I sort of do that. Like whenever I recreate historical for Black History Month, I will recreate either a character or a person who like a look, not them themselves, but like a look that they've had. And most of the time they're famous people. So they play actors. So then I end up recreating their role instead of like them. So I guess to some extent I do.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
That's a fuzzy line. Since you do historical, what time, place, or period is your favorite?
I like all of the mid-century like eras like that. I think they're very approachable because they're just, I usually stick to like daily, everyday wear. So I think since I wear it on a daily basis, it's more practical for me too. Mm-hmm. So I do that.
You dress vintage every day?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
I love
that's
it.
Fun. Yeah. Do you own non-vintage clothes?
I do, but like I'm phasing it out. Mm-hmm. I only have stuff that I haven't been able to replace vintage yet. So they are on their way out, or things that I want to keep in general, like memorable, like college t-shirts and things like that.
Yeah.
I want to keep those things, but in general, I would like to not be wearing anything that looks modern anymore.
So no leggings, like none? Do they wear leggings?
Things when I dressed modern.
Okay.
They were just I guess my skin's sensitive to them, so they're just not comfortable.
Okay.
I've never worn leggings either, Gigi. Do I look like a leggings kind of girl?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, leggings are amazing. They are amazing.
I'm like pajama bottoms.
If they're comfortable, I think they would be, but for me, they make me itch. So
yeah.
Understood. So let me ask you, how did you start in costuming?
I started, well, I've always been interested, but it's not been something that I could have afforded to do previously. So I was studying in college and I decided to actually take it serious. And so stay home and study and stuff. And I needed like a mental like escape. So I started sewing. And then the more I was sewing, the more I realized that I could possibly just make the clothes that I couldn't afford. And so I just started that way. Like I started learning how to sew. And then eventually I was like, well, I can make the wardrobe that I've always wanted. Instead of before, I couldn't afford to have reproduction vintage clothes. And my family's not really big in thrifting or anything like that. So I didn't know how to thrift vintage clothes.
Yeah. Sewing's not cheap either, but like compared to the prices on like some of those repos. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it depends. Like, I think I have a pretty affordable approach to sewing personally. Like I've made a whole suit out of like $20 fabric and it's like a wool blend. So I think and then I also sew with vintage sewing machines. So those are not expensive at all. So yeah, it can be expensive, but then I guess it just really depends.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What keeps you in the community?
Definitely my friends. Because my life is pretty isolating right now, especially living somewhere where I have no friends, no family. And then like I'm always home, I don't have a job. So definitely my friends.
What about improvement? What would you like to see improve in the costuming community?
I think more representation for everyone, really. I think sometimes if the community looks a certain kind of way, it also makes people afraid to want to join. Like even if it is going to be welcoming, if it still doesn't look approachable, then people won't.
Absolutely.
So if there's just more diversity, no matter what it is, big, small, black, white, doesn't matter. Like just more and visually more, then more people will approach the community. Like no one will know. Still, I have people today who will comment and be like, oh, I've always wanted to dress vintage, and they'll be like in their 50s and stuff, but they're afraid. And because I guess a lot of young people, they only really see doing it anymore. And I think if we just showed more of everyone, then people would just be more willing to come up to us and join and partake.
I agree. And I want to ask you, can you think of, and if you can't think of right now, you can tell me later, any plus size vintage people that you could point me to like model my vintage endeavors after, because I can't think of any. And that's one thing that keeps me from thinking I can thrift, because I'm like, well, they would have been smaller. But if I could see someone and what they do, maybe I would be able to have a better idea of what I should look like, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I have a highlight on my Instagram page and it has vintage Black people. That's what I titled it. And it has a bunch of vintage dressing Black people, but also I try to make sure that it was size inclusive too. But just out of my friends, because everyone uses their screen name, so I can't remember those. I'm just really bad at names, so I'm not gonna remember at whatever. But like Pinup Savvy Monroe, she is plus size. She's a Black woman who dresses vintage. And then With Love Christina, she's white. However, she thrifts most of her clothes and it's all true vintage, and she's also plus size. So when people say that like women weren't that big back then, when most of Christina's wardrobe is true vintage and she's plus size. So they're out there. She also sells too. So
that was With Love Christina. What was that?
Yeah, with Love Christina. She recently changed her name, so I hope that's the right one. But I can always send it to you later. And then also I do have that highlight that has all Black vintage of all different sizes.
Okay, I will go there too. Thank you.
No problem.
What is your favorite completed project?
My quilted house coat, my satin quilted house coat. I recently completed that and it was the most fulfilling and rewarding project that I've made.
Was it the hardest thing you've ever made?
I think mentally.
Yeah.
In general, it wasn't very hard, but because I was afraid of ruining satin and like just ruining satin, because it's one thing to just like sew something out of satin, and it's another thing to constantly be going over it because I'm quilting it like over and over and over, and then like changing like all the things that can go wrong, like oil accidentally dripping on it from your sewing machine, like snagging from not changing your needle enough, like. And then I had to quilt several panels just to get enough for my house coat. So it was like mentally exhausting, but like the house coat itself was a very simple project.
That's a really good point. Like sometimes the things that are not that actually difficult are the worst because it's in your head. It's always about your mental state for sure.
Yeah, it was a lot on me. It took me months to do, and it was definitely one of the easier projects if I took out the whole difficult fabric aspect of it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sewing white stays right now. And because they're white and I live in a house of 6 cats, I am freaking out about it. Like I've got towels everywhere, you know, like it's an operating theater while I'm making this thing. And I'm just like, it's kicking my butt because of that.
I was definitely in my head. I had nail files readily available. So I was like, if I feel like there's any kind of like snag on my fingernails, let me file it down, because I mean, quilting takes a minute. So it's just like, I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
Even after the quilting, it took me months to actually cut into it. Cause I was like, if I mess up and start all over again.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome that you're done and that it's beautiful and that everyone can see it and that you're proud of it.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. So do you have a sentimental or nostalgic costuming memory you want to share?
I don't have like a specific, because I don't really go anywhere or do anything, but I will say that like in general, I like when I get dressed up in like my big 50s dresses and things like that, because like I have a little 4-year-old. So whenever I have to like do a reel or take pictures or something like that, it's usually during her nap. And I enjoy when I have to wake her up from her nap and she sees me all dressed up, because like they're very theatrical. And so when she sees me and she wakes up, she's like, a princess. And it's like,
Aww.
so I look forward to that almost like weekly. It's so much fun. And then like, of course I make mother-daughter dresses. So maybe I don't have a specific like event or situation like that, but I think every week I get that special moment with her that I'll always have.
What is your entertainment routine? Like, do you listen to music? Do you watch TV? Do you watch movies? What do you do while you sew?
Most of the time I sew in silence because like it's pretty noisy. Like I have noise and stuff all the time, like with 2 kids, like there's always someone learning something, playing. This is a whole lot. So most of the time I sew in silence, but I also like to support my fellow YouTubers and things like that. So then I'll like carve out some time and I will just have like several YouTuber videos going to make sure that I'm supporting all my friends and stuff like that. But if I don't have any like updated videos to watch like that, I'll just sew in silence.
I think you're the first person to say that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel weird.
No, I think there's like value in that. Like you have
Yeah.
2 kids, like that's your life. Of course you can't put headphones on. You got to pay attention to your kids, right? Like, so like, yeah, that's the thing.
I agree. She might be the first person, but I mean, your reasoning makes sense. So
Yeah.
Feels good. I'm so in the zone that I don't even think that, hey, I should probably be listening to music or something like that. Like if I didn't have like YouTube videos to watch, I probably would exclusively sew in silence.
I'm going to try to sew in silence and see how my brain does. Maybe I'll sew better. Like maybe that's my problem.
Serena, who inspires you?
My grandma, she's probably the most creative person I know. She does a little of everything. And I really like that. She also manages it very, very well. And so she inspires me a whole lot. And I like to try a lot of things. So when people ask me, oh, how do you get the courage to make a hat or whatever it is that I do that may seem a little bit more difficult, my grandma tries everything. Like she will never straight up say she can't do anything unless she's tried it already. So she inspires me to not be like, I can't do it unless I've tried it and then I know for sure, like, hey, I can't do it, or maybe I need more work at it until I get it. But like nothing more inspirational than that. Plus she like raised a whole bunch of kids. She like managed it all. So very inspiring to me.
Who or what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for my family and I'm grateful for the life that I live. I think I feel like I'm living a dream that I didn't have for myself. So I'm really grateful for that. Like I definitely did not expect to be where I am today in general. Like I thought I was going to be like this businesswoman person who didn't have kids and didn't want to be married. And for whatever reason, my life changed, not by accident. I made all these choices, but I'm way more fulfilled and thrilled than I thought I would have been. I probably would have been miserable working the way that I thought that I should. And I don't know why I thought I should have, but I definitely thought that I should have been like not living this life. I thought that my life, like being a stay-at-home mom would be very boring and not fulfilling. I don't know why I thought that either, but
capitalism. That is why you thought that.
That's probably it. But I don't make any money of my own and I'm as happy as I could ever be. So
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. When you said you were living a dream you didn't know you had, I was like, you should put that on a wall somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, this is not my life. Little Serena would not be like, this is what you're doing, but I'm so happy.
Favorite inspirational quote? Do you have one?
I don't think I have one.
Okay, it should be, I am living the life.
Actually, yeah. So it's by you and I'm living a dream I didn't know I had.
If you could give new customers one piece of advice, what would it be?
Try.
Yeah.
Try. I think a lot of us get caught up in not doing something we want to do because we're afraid to try. And I know I get in my head all the time. I think my last 4 or 5 projects that I posted has been projects that I was afraid to try. And then it turned out really well. Or because especially if you're costuming by sewing, I always feel like there's room for mistakes with sewing. You can always take the thread out and go back. So the only thing stopping you is usually just you.
Yeah.
So just try everything, all things, figure out what you like.
I am in the middle of doing that and it's kind of amazing. So I think proof that trying something opens up a whole realm of possibilities. So mm-hmm. I like your advice.
I had a guy that I worked with one time. His name is Vlad. And I would always ask him questions and he would just go, just try. And I would just try it. So that's kind of my life motto also.
Yeah, you really don't know. And then even with dressing, you don't know what you like wearing until you've tried it already. So
yeah,
give it a try.
So if you have a closing message on inclusion or equity and you want to send that out, now would be the time.
I feel like people should open up their minds and their hearts to other people. I think sometimes because there isn't a whole lot of representation, it makes us, well, speaking for myself. So basically I've grown a lot of following online. And sometimes I feel like people look to me to be the voice for all of my people, as well as what I'm good at, which is sewing and creating. And sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming because I do feel like there are people who are professionals in everything. And I don't feel like I need to be a professional at everything because I'm just not. And so I feel like if you be more open to allowing more people into spaces, then those professionals will be able to stand up and speak, and you won't just have the 5 people that you know being responsible for doing everything. So I think that like we not only do we need to talk about making room for people, but we actually have to do it, and not do it because we're being forced to, but because that's actually in our heart to do it. So yeah, I feel like we've had a lot of performative like inclusion lately. And I don't think it's enough to just be like, oh, I follow this person, but like, don't just follow someone. Follow someone and find someone that you actually vibe with. Do that instead. Don't follow every minority person, but follow a minority person that you would have gotten along with regardless. Do that.
As it turns out, people are people, and you'll probably vibe with some people and probably not with others. And just go ahead and do that.
Exactly. So if you like expand your reach, then you're more likely to find someone you're going to vibe with.
Absolutely.
Yes, I think connection is key. And what Serena is talking about will lead you to actually make connections with people who are different than you, not just follow their page because you think that is going to help them. But it'll give you some interaction. And like Noelle and I didn't know each other before the pandemic. If Noelle had just liked my page and then went on about her business, we would never got to know each other. But we actually made a connection, and look, like we're really good friends now. So
yeah. And I have a lot of friends like that came genuinely before the pandemic and after, but like there are a lot of people I'm sure that follow me just because they want to have a little color on their feed and stuff, because I do get DMs and stuff about like, could you not talk about race and stuff like that? So like I know that there are people who are not genuinely following me because they care, but then I have made a lot of actual friendships with people, and so I guess you're just going to have to get those numbers in so that way you can narrow down who you actually get along with. Because I'm not going to be for everyone.
I would also like to make a PSA. Please don't go on a creator's page and tell them not to talk about literally anything, but specifically race or something that specifically affects them. If the person is neurodivergent, if the person is like fat, if the person is anything and that's what they're talking about, you either take them as a whole or you don't. But don't ever ask creators not to be talking about something that's their page and they do what they want.
Yeah, that's bad manners. First of all, it's just bad manners. So if you don't like what's on someone's page, keep scrolling. Just be like, oh, well, this post wasn't for me. I'm going to keep scrolling, because maybe 80% of their posts are for you. But if you really hate it, then just, don't follow them.
Unless they're being racist, and then tell them not to do that. That's fine.
Yeah. All right. On that note, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great to get to know you and to see a little bit of your house. Your wallpaper is fabulous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you also to our viewers for joining us today. Make sure that you go to Serena's social media and follow her, and also leave a little love below in the comments for her.
Yeah, please do give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't. And if you have a customer of color, even if that's you, go down to the link below and fill that out for us so that we know who else to talk to on this amazing show. It was really great to talk to you today, Serena, and it was really great to get to know you a little bit better. Thank you for being on this show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.